Hi. But yeah, how are you? How are things? How's the new show?
I'm
Um,
good. The show is great. I think it premiered in September,
hmm
and so it's been really, really exciting to watch it be well received.
hmm
Pretty unbelievable sometimes when I sit back and think about the people that I work with.
hmm Yeah.
Was a huge fan of Judy Greer like all
Yes.
my life. Um, Keegan Michael Key is unbelievable, unbelievable, and Paul Reiser too. So kind. Johnny Knoxville, the
hmm
nicest. Rachel, just they're all Kaylin. They're all really wonderful people and hard workers, which is like something I really respect in this industry. It's hard to stay motivated. It's hard to trust yourself. And I feel like all these people worked so hard to like find their own light.
hmm
Um, I don't know them that closely because we only did 8 episodes,
Right.
but just like looking at their career and when you see them like offset and you can just tell like how much they truly, truly love it and will do anything artistically to make sure that the show is as good as it can possibly be.
How is it being on set with Keegan Michael Key? Is he as hysterical as
He
one
is
would imagine?
wild. Yes, yes, and also so compassionate and
hmm
nice. He's like always trying to take care of everybody. He listens to everybody. He looks everyone in the eye, and I can't imagine like how difficult that is to like wear so many hats at once. Um, and lead a show, and he's working on like Shmigadoon too at the same time. Um, and probably doing a million other things that we don't know, and he's flying back and forth between New York and here. He's just
Yeah.
dreams, like we all want to be him.
Right.
I finally introduced my parents to Key and Peele,
Oh my God.
and it was really fun to rewatch those skits
Right.
or
Right.
sketches. My bad, sketches.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They're so good. He's so good.
Yeah, he's incredibly talented. He's great on the show. I watched the first 2 episodes over the weekend. Really funny show. Um, your character, it's interesting because you've starred on many sitcoms, and now
Yeah.
you're like a Hulu executive who is now like very behind the camera, extremely far behind the camera. So how was that? I imagine that's just sort of like that's a cool thing that I noticed. But what can you tell us about your character? Um, yeah, Elaine Kim is her name.
Elaine Kim.
hmm
There's a lot to know about Elaine Kim, and she, for me, was a really exciting character to jump into for multiple reasons. One, she was the first adult I played,
Mm,
so I was able to kind of just relax into myself. Also, the first like series regular I had as a single camera job,
mm,
which involved way more hours, a lot more takes because you get so many different shots instead of getting them all at once. Dr. Ken and Last Man Standing were multi-camera
mm,
shows, so you basically get all the shots at once, and it's in front of a live studio audience.
mm.
It is super meta and really cool because the set that we were on was actually the Last Man Standing set.
Nice.
So that was really nuts to like walk on there and still feel like I was at home. But Elaine herself, okay, so she is named after and is kind of a tribute to Elaine Coe, who is one of the writers and of Modern Family and
Mm,
producers of Modern Family. And she is so badass and so cool and a lot more with it than Elaine Kim is. Um, but like the bicycle scene was really actually like after her life, she learned how to ride a bike on the Fox lot with Steve. And just to know that I had the space to like play an Asian American woman in this industry. And I think Steve did a really great job at giving me, my character, opportunities to really kind of like hint at that and a glint, give you a little glint of like what it's like, not just as like a young producer, but also as a young exec, but also as somebody who doesn't feel like she quite fits in, and also is having the pressure from outside family members and society's norms and like everything that was expected of her in terms of success. And so to like have this opportunity to really just do something that she wanted to do and everything that she thought it could be from the outside, and then she gets in there and realizes it might be different, and then she falls in love and just learns that she could do not whatever she wants to do, but like Kaylan's character really gives her an opportunity to say like, look, you don't have to do everything that your parents expect of you. You have the choice to not only do work 24/7. And I don't know if you feel this way as an Asian American. I mean, definitely as someone who went to Head Royce. But like everything is career driven and oriented, and there's so much pressure in terms of what defines success. And I think both me and Elaine like learned this year that like balance, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. I don't even know if that was being recorded, but like it's it only helps us come to the table with even more to offer, because you're well-rounded, you're relaxed, you're loving yourself, and when you love yourself and give yourself the time to like truly make yourself happy, you come to work happy. So I guess that's what Elaine learned this year.
Yeah.
She's definitely a fish out of water, though.
Yeah, and
I don't know if you had a chance to watch them all, but
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't finished the show. I will, or the first season, I shall. But I got to a point where I could see that she was having a character arc, like you're saying, and yeah, sort of like you're saying, I guess, like responding to pressures from her family, I guess, like cultural expectations in a way. So I'm curious, like, in what other ways did you sort of identify with her?
I think, most of it was anchored in like the supposed to do versus like life throws so many things at you, and it's okay to open your heart. I think that was her big life lesson in this season. And if I were watching it, I would, like, as Krista, I would watch it and I'd be like, oh my gosh, that girl, she allowed herself to fall in love, even though she's not supposed to. Oh man, that does look really hard to, like, have to decide between, like, getting in trouble or actually just, like, having some fun. Yeah, it's just the beginning, so I'm really excited to see like where she takes all of this newfound approach to life.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also curious, as we're talking about this, as we see sort of the industry shift towards being more, I guess, open, more opportunities for Asian American artists to tell their own stories, for actors to play Asian American characters. Are you finding that there are more sort of like juicy roles for you to play now, as compared to like 10 years ago? How is the industry sort of opening up for you?
I definitely started about 10 years ago, and I was really lucky with the people who believed in me. My agents, Carnegie Mellon, we had a showcase. I went to school for Carnegie Mellon, which was school for acting, so I basically have to like thank my acting teacher from high school, Bobby Wineapple, but also my parents who like really believed in me and said, you know, it's okay, like go. They still had the Asianness in them of like, you still have to be the best, but go do whatever you want to do. We support you. And I would say my agents did send me out for a lot of like the one-liner type things, and I was really proud to get those. And everything kind of like built and built and built, and then Dr. Ken happened, and I was still working in a restaurant, and then Last Man Standing. So I feel like, you know, when you're on a show, you can't audition for other things. You're locked in. So I haven't necessarily been able to see for myself what roles are opening up. But one thing I'm very excited about is to see more Asian fellow actors and actresses in so many different things. And they've all been here. We've all been here, you know, ready to go, working so hard, auditioning 24/7, pouring our hearts into things. And so to be able to see that hard work finally like come through, and people recognizing that we as a community are really talented group and represent so much of America, and like accurately reflect what we want to see on screen, is really exciting. I think the doors are opening. I think that in my opinion, when a door opens, it doesn't mean it's time to like relax. I think it's time to like celebrate and like kick that door open even more. And so like what we would need is to work that much harder, in my head. And that also means like people who aren't necessarily actors, but people who are like producers or people who aren't even in the industry. We need people to like watch and support. And then we also need people who are producers to like fund and like suggest and like be able to open their eyes and hearts and visualize people who are not used to seeing on screen as the leads, as the best, or as more than just, I don't know, the nail parlor girl or the karate boy, which isn't a knock on somebody who does have an accent, or like isn't a knock on kung fu. Like I think it's easy to criticize what we don't want to be seen as, but that's up to those people exist. We all exist in so many different realms, so it's up to the actor and the audience to see how hard these people are working to make it not a stereotype. The accent isn't the butt of the joke. Kung Fu isn't about just Asian people doing Kung Fu. Like, these are layered, multifaceted characters, and how cool is that?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think to what you're saying, like being able to tell stories in which we are seen as three-dimensional, layered people who deserve a character arc, who deserve to have stories told about us and our families and where we come from and, excuse me, our experience in the world. I totally resonate with everything you're saying. And I wanted to jump back to Dr. Ken, because that was a really fun show with Ken Jeong. Which I feel like was sort of a groundbreaking show because correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the few Asian, being like an Asian cast sitcoms on TV ever. If I'm correct. What are you most proud of from that entire experience and that show?
Mm-hmm. I think it was at the time it was said to be the second Asian-led show on network TV in 20 years, and that had been All-American Girl with Margaret Cho, who started us off and then fresh off the boat 20 years later, and then Dr. King the year after that. And there's so many layers to it for me. Like, one, very first series regular, incredibly proud. I remember getting the call. I was a hostess at work, and I was sitting on the stair, like I left to go like on the stairs to like hear what they had to say, and I still continued to work through the pilot and a little bit at the beginning of season 1, just because like I don't take this for granted. I don't take any of it for granted. I know how hard it is. I know how lucky I am, and I will never ever not be grateful for like the opportunities that Mike Sikowitz, the showrunner, and Ken Jeong gave to me. They really believed in me, and then they also Ken, Susie, Jonathan Slavin, Tisha Kilmer-Martin, Dana Lee, they all modeled for me as well, like what kind of person and actor I want to be. They're really brave actors. They all make huge choices that they're not afraid to do. Like, I think it's very easy to come into this industry and be told what to be or what to do. And like, we're flexible, we are very versatile people, we're capable of doing anything, we're actors. But the thing is, like, they don't tell us exactly what they want. And so we're like, but we want to give you what you want. And it's very easy to kind of try to change yourself to be what everybody else wants you to be in order to just get a job. But what I really, really admire about Susie and Ken and Jonathan Slavin and Tisha and Dave Foley is that, like, they all are so unapologetic about finding wild and crazy choices about themselves, which is so hard to do, especially multi-camera. Like, when you look at, like, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, they all do it there, too. They're just like, out of this world, but they're still grounded and they still come from a place of not trying to like appease. And I learned a lot. I think in terms of being an Asian American, huge, really big deal. And it was a monumental time for me because I learned the impact that I could have on how I represent an Asian person on screen. And how important it was that I was very like, how important it was to, there are two parts to it. One is it's a lot of pressure because there was only 2 shows. And every single Asian American person who's watching is expecting to be represented.
Right.
And that's impossible. So there's that side. But then the other side is like, look, like, this is our opportunity to show you all that we matter. And we have, you know, this is real life. Like, Chase Lee is a real person. And we're not just like, yeah, and you're awesome. And it's just like, why does the media not reflect that? Truly, why? And so I just felt really proud and honored to be a piece of like making a difference in that sense. Like, if there were a young Asian girl out there who saw that, I hope that she would know, like, oh wow, I can be an actress. It doesn't just have to be that one type of girl who gets to be an actress. Or also, like, I could be seen as, like, the popular girl because Molly, my character, was this popular girl. She's a little snarky, but, like, she's popular and smart, so she wasn't just dumb to be popular, like the stereotype sometimes implies. But, yeah, you know, you get to make choices, and the choices are actually important.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Ken Jeong, like you said, is one of the actors who has made some of the biggest choices, arguably, in movie history. What did you? What did? Yeah. Are you serious?
I've never seen it, and I wonder if that's a piece of why it worked that I played his daughter. However, I was a huge, and has always been a huge Community fan. He actually posted today on Twitter his favorite scene. I was like watching it while getting ready, and huge choices.
Huge choices.
Good, like 150% committed, and that's why it's not a stereotype. Like, he believes. Chang, I think is his character's name.
Senor Chang, yes. Senor
Chang believes in every single piece of, like, he was in love with a leg. It was real. Like, that's what makes him so magical.
You can just see in every scene that he's in, like, how everybody is, like, just not on edge, but just, like, waiting to see what he's going to do. So reactive, so captivating. He gets, like, amazing reactions from his co-stars. And I wanted to talk to you about that, because speaking of choices, you're obviously a tremendously talented, I guess, comedic actor, we could say. But I'm curious about, like, how do you approach a quote-unquote comedic role in which, you know, like, you're going to have to be funny. You're going to have to make people laugh. How do you approach that as opposed to how you approach, like, I guess, like, a role on stage, or a role on, or not that, but, like, I guess a more, for lack of a better word, a more, like, serious role.
Sure, I understand the question. I think there is a timing that you can't, it's tricky because you can't think about it, but you have to be, like, aware of it. And every different show has a different tone. So with multi-camera, to get into it, I rewatched Boy Meets World. I rewatched Fresh Prince. I watched, what else did I watch? Oh, I was obsessed with King of Queens. And the timing between, the one thing I noticed was the timing between all of these castmates was unbelievable. I think the biggest shock for me on Dr. Ken was people were laughing. I'm like, you don't laugh in everyday life, and I didn't know how to hold for a laugh. And also the pressure to make people laugh too. And I think that actually was one of the biggest lessons I had on that show. Like, I was so concerned about that I wasn't as free of an actor as I wanted to be. It was also my first ever thing. So yeah, again, learned a ton. But to answer your question, approaching everything as myself being the character. So anchoring into the scene itself, I think, is whether it's dramatic or comedic, we're still playing a person. I'm not trying to play funny. I'm not trying to play sad. I'm not trying to play anything. But when it is comedy, I think there is like a heightened piece to it that, we all have to laugh through life to get through it. And I think the biggest, it goes back again to like tone. So if I were to, I haven't really like done that much quote unquote like dramatic pieces, except for at school at Carnegie Mellon, but the tone of comedic sitcoms is like not necessarily bigger, but just like heightened for me.
Yeah.
For myself, yeah.
And dramatic is the word I was searching for. I apologize, but it's what you're saying. It's like, yeah, I think a lot of times the humor comes out of the stakes and comes out of the fact that these characters are like trying so hard to get what they want, and we see something that is like real happening on stage or on the screen. Yeah, and so I'm also curious about like how do you approach a sitcom as opposed to how do you approach a TV show or a stage production in terms of just like the mathematics of how you move, of just how you feel in the space, like how does your sort of brain compute differently in all those different situations?
Yeah, they're all very different. I think multi-camera is the middle of like stage versus single camera because you are on it's a live studio audience and it is a proscenium type shot because you have 4 cameras, and so you do have to like open. One cool thing is like always looking for your light, because you can easily be shadowed, and it makes like a huge difference, especially for me because like I shadow under here really easily. So like on multi-camera I have to tilt up because like all the lights are up there. They don't have time to light each person.
Right.
So I thought that was really cool. I think, yeah, again, I go back to like tone of a show. So like if it's more grounded, everything is grounded, but if it's it like I see like this. So like it can be like more contained or it can be like more like big, but not big, just like out. The presence is out.
Yeah. So just dealing with scale.
I think so.
Sort of. Yeah.
What's
yeah. And what's your favorite? I don't know if you have a favorite, but what is so far?
Gosh.
What are you into now?
I really, really enjoyed Reboot. I think being able to have the time to really like work through each scene, because multi-camera works really fast. It's so fun. It's such a high, and you like work all week on one episode and then you're done.
Yeah.
And it's and I think it's similar to single camera, but there's more time with each shot. And I love having that time to be able to like really develop each moment. Theater I do miss.
Yeah.
I miss a big theater fan, but I gotta hand it to you out there in New York. It is a hustle. It is such an intense hustle, and I'm spoiled. Like I get my makeup done. I still don't know how to put eyelashes on. It takes so long, and every time I think I can, I end up with just one. So I'll be on the carpet with one eyelash. I think that was one of the fiascos, and then the other fiasco was when I put them on and they were way too long. I tried to cut it on my eye and then cut my own eyelash, but went to the event anyway.
I can't do my own makeup either, so that makes 2 of us. Welcome to the club, I guess.
You put a lot on?
In the past I have, but I just can't do it.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Don't have the dexterity for it. So, but I guess you don't. Yeah, like you said, you don't have to right now. So that's
makeup artists are pretty incredible what
Man.
they can do, especially under the lights. And camera just doesn't make you look like you. There is, lights and camera were created with one type of model to to shape their face. And so if you don't have that like conventional face, you're going to look different. And so like the makeup artists that I have had have worked really hard to try to like help enhance that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're amazing. Artist is the operative word when we're talking about makeup artists. They are
truly an artist, and they have to listen to all our problems.
Yeah, and they have to deal with actors all day, which is not always the easiest thing to do.
True.
Yeah.
I watched my first YouTube video of how to make my eye makeup look like Jenny from Blackpink.
That's my girl.
It was hard.
How'd it go?
I don't know. I've been trying like every day, but
okay. When
your eye is closed, you can't see.
Oh, is that what you have right now? I can see it.
I have like a light version.
There you go. All right. Woo. It's giving. Let me tell you, it's giving. I'm a huge Blink. I'm a huge Blackpink stan. Massively. I saw them here in November when they were here. It was literally the best day of my life. Arguably.
I just got chills.
Yes.
You know, Chloe Ting is this workout girl on YouTube too, and she has a Blackpink workout for 20 minutes. It's the only one I will do. I don't care. That's the same one every day, but it's to like we'll kill this love, and it's so worth it.
Amazing. What is it? Is it like aerobics?
It's a little bit of a booty workout.
Mm-hmm. You do the choreography, the love.
No, I wish I did. I will one day. That would be an incredible workout.
Nice.
I need like a bigger mirror for that.
K-pop choreography, dance choreography is something that I have on my acting resume, and it's kind of bullshit because I really suck. But I'm just like, it's something that I do. I'm putting it on there because if they ask me to perform something, I'll do it. Like I'll do it. So,
did you audition for K-pop?
No, God, no. I mean, I'm not much of a singer, to be perfectly clear, or a dancer. But I wanted to see the show.
Everybody is in their own way.
Well, I mean, I'm leveling up. You know how it is. I didn't get to see it though until before it got canceled. Very disappointing.
So sad.
Yeah, we're all still pretty pissed about that over here in New York, as we should be.
As we should be. I mean, I live there too. I got to see a preview, and it's really, really exciting to see.
A preview of K-pop?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when they were in LA.
No, I went and saw it in New York.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I was there in October for press for like 3 days, and so I was like, I gotta see this. I went with Ravi, actually, my little brother. We have like a little crazy story about that because we took too long buying him pants because Ravi only wears the same pair of pants every day from Head Royce, his soccer pants.
Still? 10 years
soccer
later.
I mean, isn't it more than 10 years now?
It is more than 10 years.
I'm just calling him out on Chase Lee's podcast.
Shout out to Ravi.
And we were late to go to K-pop, so we're running. I'm in my heels. We get there exactly 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we get in. We're like, yes, we made it. We get downstairs, and they're like, oh, we need to see your tickets again. And Robbie was like, oh, no, I already turned my phone off. And the battery was at 2%. So we're like, we need these tickets. And he's trying to turn his phone on, and it's taking like 5 minutes. I'm getting really huffy. And then the lady is like, are you on a date? And I was like, oh, no. If he was on a date, I'd be gone. But we made it.
Oh,
we got to see it, and he got me amazing tickets because he's the best little brother ever. And the cast, the crew, the costumes, everything was spectacular.
Yeah.
It was a spectacular show. And so many Broadway debuts.
Yeah. I heard it was good. I mean, my thing is like it doesn't have to be the end for them. The show will continue. They might not get another Broadway run again, but they had such a good off-Broadway run that, they'll be back. There'll be a market for it at some point. Hopefully. But yeah.
I sure hope so. I think a lot of times with I don't know about Broadway, but I would assume this is with Broadway too, but with like new shows out here. A lot of them, because there is so much content, aren't given enough of a chance.
Yeah.
There has to be time to find an audience. There's so much content out there. Everybody's got lives. They're working. They come home. or there isn't always time to watch TV. Like, people can't watch TV within the first 3 weeks of something airing, and that's technically when it matters, quote unquote, from what I understand. So like, same with K-pop. Like, I think it's very unfair that people did not give them a longer chance. I feel the same way about Partner Track. I loved Partner Track, and I think this is where, like, community sometimes gets in the way, like, with making assumptions before watching it, having opinions before watching it, being our representation of the Asian community isn't good enough. And that is, like, a big Asian thing in general, not being good enough. And we're going to hurt ourselves.
Yeah. Well, but we are here. And I think the good thing about the good thing about the theater scene out here, at least, is that, like, K-pop was disappointing, but there's a lot in the city. There's a lot of off-Broadway productions with Asian cast members, Asian artists just in it, Asian writers, Asian playwrights, directors that are being made. And so you're seeing all of these other sort of stories starting to, like, come up. And I think K-pop was great because it's like, here's a big show for, like, a lot of Asian representation. But there's just a lot of stuff going on in the city, which is, like, really exciting. Every week, every month, I'm seeing, this new show with, like, this playwright and this director. So it's an exciting time, and it's a good time to be an Asian artist, at least in this city. And I imagine in LA, a lot of stuff is happening. Similar stuff is happening as well. So
yeah, it's definitely exciting. You're right, and I hope that we can all support each other through it all.
Yeah.
That's like a key piece.
Mm-hmm. And which one of your projects, speaking of that, which one of your projects or roles that you've done has been the most challenging for you, and why?
Ooh.
In your entire career, going back to Head Rice, going back to Carnegie Mellon.
They're challenging. They're all challenging for different reasons, because I love being challenged. You got to find the challenge in order to, like, make something interesting. I'd say one of my worst experiences was on Agent Carter. I was one of 3 girls, it was a co-star, who we had a monologue together. And we were all sleeping with Tony Stark, but got, like, played.
Yeah.
And so the scene is Agent Carter comes and, like, interviews all 3 of us to see what we have to say. And it gets cut in a way that it turns into one big monologue. So we're, like, kind of finishing each other's sentences, blah, blah, blah. But she's at 3 different doorsteps. And so I only memorized the parts that were my lines. And then I got there and they were like, oh, no, you need to know the whole monologue. And it was like 6 a.m. and I had an hour. And then I don't know if it was like a race thing. I don't know. But sometimes people don't think I'm an actress, and they'll expect me to be a PA. And so they got very confused as to who I was. They thought I was background. I mean, yes, I had, like, a very small line, a small scene, but I was not. I think I got accidentally sent to background makeup. Someone else did my makeup and hair, and it wasn't what they wanted. So I also got on set and they were like, no, this doesn't look right. So they're trying to, like, last minute change my hair. I got very nervous because I'm trying to remember this whole monologue that I'm learned on the spot, and I got it out, but it took so long. And then I had to kick him in the shin, and I missed his shin guard. So I would say that was the challenge. In that was still not thinking I was a failure, because I felt like a big fail. But then you see it was all edited around, and here I am still working.
Here you are still working.
Still working.
Is that's kind of a horror story, though? I mean, is that the first time that you've been mistaken for, like, a PA, or somebody
I've been mistaken for a PA multiple times.
Yeah.
Even with all my, like, stage makeup on, I'm like, or camera makeup on, I'm like, there's nothing against PAs. I think PAs have the hardest job. The hardest job. And don't get paid enough for it.
Yeah.
I dated a PA for, like, 8 years, and the things that I know he had to do was just pretty demoralizing sometimes.
Yeah.
Worked so hard.
Yeah.
In any case, I think, people do not assume that I'm an actor. I don't know why.
Do you know who Jeremy Lin is?
Yes, the basketball player.
So there's a famous story about Jeremy Lin when he was on the Knicks, like right before Linsanity happened, when he started scoring like all these points. Shows up to Madison Square Garden. I think this is actually the night that he first scored like 25 points and like this thing started to happen. But he shows up, goes to like the players' entrance, and he got rejected at the door. And they're like, "Who are you? Like, you're clearly not a player. Like, get out of here." He didn't have any badge or anything, right? Because he was like very new on the team, and they're just like, no. And he had to like call somebody and explain, no, I'm Jeremy Lin, like I'm a point guard, I'm on the team. And then they finally let him in. So not to say that your experience is not original, but I feel like there's something to that of seeing, I guess, Asian folks or East Asian folks in spaces that you don't normally see us in, doing things that you don't normally see us doing, and being like, I can't even believe that. So I'm incredulous to it.
Exactly that, which circles back to like, why are we not represented that way in the media, and like, how can we make more of a difference? And let's just keep pushing forward and supporting each other, celebrating each other. And like, if we do get a character, in my opinion, if we do get a character that is more stereotypical, like not immediately like shutting it down, thinking about what you can do to make this character a multifaceted character. And because I almost did that. I almost said no to Last Man Standing when I first was going to audition, because I knew she had an accent. I knew she was from Hong Kong.
Right,
or China.
exchange student.
Yeah, she was an exchange student, and I was very worried. And I went in, and I'm so glad that I did. I almost didn't go to the audition, because I'm grateful for all auditions, but I also was very concerned about a character like that being on screen on network television for a show that caters to a more like conservative audience. And so it was really, really nice to see, because sometimes our own narrative gets in the way. We assume people are going to make things a certain way. We assume people are going to think certain things about us, based on, like the past and things. And so you can't change things or make change if you don't even take the chance to try.
Yeah. And
so I'm really glad that I did, because when I went, like, they were like, no, not a heavy accent, light accent. Let's make her from Hong Kong. She go to international school. Right. She speaks Mandarin, Cantonese, and English. Right. There were scenes about her dad, at the protests, and the accent was never the butt of the joke. Right. It was interesting to see how it was received. Sometimes fans were like, she's way too loud, she's not demure enough. And that's based on like how, we have been portrayed in the past, so it was kind of cool to not play that. And while it wasn't necessarily always received well, it didn't matter to like the people who were writing it. It didn't matter to the people who were creating it. They're like, and there was even an episode about Tim Allen's character telling me to not feel like I need to be polite. Yeah. He was like, you need to just do what you think you should do, and trust yourself more. You're smart and you can do it. And it was really a really, really interesting, fun, cool experience. Yeah. I think when I look back on it, it was easy to sometimes feel isolated, because I wasn't part of the family. But in the end, we were one big family, if that makes sense. And Hector Elizondo, Nancy Travis, and Jonathan Adams were always people who like looked out for me, and that was cool. Yeah.
And like you say, I think like Jen, your character on that show, every time she shows up in a scene, she has a ton of like weight, and she kind of has a ton of like respect in the family, and is very much. I think this is credit to you as a performer. You steal a lot of scenes in that show, but it was definitely it definitely seems like a character that you expect to be, like you're saying, you expect to be a certain way, and then completely by the end of the show, like that I guess, image has been subverted in a certain way that's, I think we could say very positive. Is that something that is sort of like driving you forward in your career now? Are you looking for, because I think the same could be said about Elaine Kim in certain ways. Is playing those characters something that is giving you motivation forward, or what other things are sort of giving you motivation at this point?
In terms of acting?
I guess in terms of the projects that you're choosing and the characters that you want to play.
Okay, so it's a really interesting question. I don't feel like I'm in a place yet where I can choose. I think in general, for anybody, it's very hard to get an audition.
Yeah.
It's very hard to even get a job. During this pandemic, people did not have jobs, especially actors. And I don't take that for granted. Like, I don't. I believe mostly every part you can make great. With conversation, with choices. And if you can't, that's when you leave. There are very few that I've said no to. And it usually has to do with logistics and like my own safety and like my own comfort and like just things work whether they can I can physically do it or not. Yeah, but I totally believe in like going for it all, trying your best, and if you get it, that's awesome, and you make it work. Sometimes, yeah, it's not, like I would say it's not. I don't know. I had a teacher once who was like, "Never work for free," and I was like, "What?" Like, but you're being an actor, and I understand what she means now. I understand because like you end up paying, like if you work for free, you end up spending.
Yeah.
And that's hard. That's really, really hard. So like you gotta weigh the odds too. I just did my first like movie out in Atlanta, which was like a first time ever like far away thing. And actually not first, but I was there for a while, and that was a first for me. And I didn't realize how much I'd spend not being at home. So it's just interesting how much it all like, it all plays a factor when you think about what you want to do and how you want to end up like in your life. Like you love it, you love acting, you love it so much, but it's also at the same time a job.
Yeah.
And you also have to realize like your life is, and you're defined by other things outside of just like your love for acting. You as in me. I had to realize that I was defined more than just that, more than just like my career, more than just like, yeah. I think I've learned a lot in terms of that because I pushed to real, I'm somebody who does not learn lines that quickly. And so I work the amount of time that it takes me for auditions to learn them is a really long time. To film them, not as long because I don't want to waste the reader's time. But it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
And it's easy to not have time to do anything else. And I'm 34, and I was like, all my friends are having babies. I want a baby.
Right.
At least I have a dog baby now. But like, I have started having to think about like other things that like, oh, what else brings me joy? I'm so lucky that my job brings me joy, but I can't. My mental health will suffer if I don't have. If I put all my eggs into that basket.
Right. Like
when a show gets canceled, like when Dr. Ken got canceled, Last Man got canceled, it took me like a good couple months to like recalibrate.
Yeah.
Because I would get very, 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 very sad. And it's like, Krista, no. Like this should be a good time because you actually have some time off. To like organize your house. Like it's so messy in here. When I send you the picture of this Rain, you and me, you're gonna be like, oh my god, so cluttered.
This is a no judgment zone. This is a safe space. Do not worry.
It's so bad. Yeah. So that's a big lesson for me too, like learning to, like, I love being outside. I love flowers. I love friends.
Yeah. One has to remember to live a life, like live your full life. Like we cannot just be one-sided artists, especially as actors, because we have to like be human beings. Like we can't forget to be human beings. I am of the belief, like I guess like 12 years into my acting journey, that the more that I do outside of acting, it just all makes me a better actor, a better human being. It all translates. It all comes through. It comes through in the work too, in ways that I can't even really like put words to. It just your light starts to shine. That was very corny, but there you go.
It was beautiful. I gave goosebumps.
Thank you.
Because it's true, and that's like circulating the love too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What are your aspirations and goals for your career moving forward? Could be in terms of kinds of the projects you want to do, just as an artist. Where are you going from here?
I think every day is a new day. I think our jobs are really non-linear. I do have dreams, and I have to sit back sometimes. I actually think the sky every day, because I am living it. I think consistently having work would be a dream. I think being loved would be a dream. I think in terms of career, sorry.
No, I think those are all related, like we're talking about.
It's just a life balance. I think, and like wholeness. But I've always said that in terms of like a character I'd want to play is somebody who's like dealt with illness. I think I have pieces in me that would understand the character well. But it's interesting. I mean, like you say, like I'm quote unquote a comedic actor. I never thought I was funny in life. I never thought I was funny at all. So it's weird how those things pan out. I wonder sometimes if it's because like I do cut off myself emotionally to handle certain things in life, that I haven't like allowed those passageways to come up yet in my acting. But we'll see. I think I'm easing into it more now. I have a little bit of issue with control. So I do think this specific year and the pandemic and certain things that have happened in my life, like, make me not even have the time to have as much control as I used to. And my acting got significantly better because of it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, just like stepping back, releasing into it, trusting that I can do it, and just trusting who I am versus like who I am trying to portray.
You mean a problem with control as in you keep too much, you feel like you try to maintain too much control instead of just like kind of loosening up and letting it go? I tend to be like more of like I would rather know every single line than mess up. But Tim Allen actually said that to me once, and Ken has said something similar. Like, Tim said, be okay with making mistakes. He let me make such a big mistake right in front of him. I had like brisket and chicken, and when we're rehearsing, you don't have the food in front of you, and it's just empty containers. And I was supposed to like drop. He was going vegan that week or something, and I had to drop the brisket into the trash, and, like, tempt him with it. And I wasn't thinking, because I was just, it was just the meat container that was in front of me in rehearsal. So like, I didn't look. I wasn't looking hard enough. No, I didn't look to see like which one was chicken, which one was brisket. And even the prop person was like, you know what you're doing, like, because she was gonna tell me, but then she was like, never mind, I can trust Krista. And I instead of dumping the chicken in the trash, or no, the brisket in the trash, I dumped the chicken in the trash, and they only had one of them. And Tim tried to like make it work by being like, that was the brisket. Like, he saw me make the mistake, but let me do it anyway. And he was like, you have to be okay with making mistakes, because he always used to make fun of me for being Miss Perfect, or like the robot. Or no, Dr. Ken, they called me the robot. Wow.
And I think Ken did say at one point, he was like, it's okay to like, to like be a little unexpected, like try something a little different. Like what you were saying about Community. It doesn't mean like completely go AWOL and like mess up your scene partner, but it does mean like I was lacking fluidity and like freeness because I was afraid of doing something wrong. And I think that's driven by control, driven by how we were raised, also driven by the opportunities that Asian Americans don't have. I did not want to give anybody an opportunity to fire me. And in my head, that meant never, ever, ever mess up. Still sort of believe it deep down.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many opportunities I have to mess up and what is really considered messing up. But to be honest, I gave myself that freedom to do so I mean, I still worked just as hard to know my lines. Like, there are Post-its all over the walls for Elaine Kim, because she's very, like, analytical person and says things that I do not ever say.
Yeah, she has some really long, jargony lines. I'm like, oh, God, jargony. I'm glad I don't have to... I'm glad you're doing that, not me.
Killed myself.
Really tough. Yeah.
And that was actually my audition scene, too. Robbie was my reader
of course.
For that one.
Naturally. Yeah.
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 I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, release control, trust that it's there, and good things come out. Just my lesson of 2022.
Yeah. Are you a bit of a perfectionist, or?
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, for those listening, like, Chase and I went to a school that, like, a high school that was really intense. Like,
I burned out at 7th grade. Sorry to interrupt you. I burned out. I was done by 7th grade.
I believe it. I think I did too. But still, like, hung on as, like, a crazy person. Like, I went through 1 year pretending I couldn't talk. And I told everyone, like, Ursula stole my voice.
When was that?
It was senior year. I lost it senior year. I was also, like, dealing with some health things senior year. And so I was on this drug called prednisone.
Okay.
And I was in children's pediatrics, and they don't tell you that prednisone, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's a steroid, but it helps prevent inflammation, but it also makes you absolutely crazy.
Yes.
And nobody told me this ever, until maybe I realized it within myself, but still nobody was telling me. And then not until maybe the last 5 years, people were like, other people who have been on prednisone, not like doctors. Yeah, senior year, I was in a lot of pain, but I was also nuts. And I was auditioning for schools at the same time.
Damn.
Yeah.
But it all worked out.
Which is not a head race thing. It did work out.
Yeah.
It worked out. It's funny how life does that.
Yeah. Yeah, Head Royce was a beast. What is your best memory from Head Royce?
Best memory from Head Royce, the friends I've made.
Yay.
A long time ago, but yeah, I still am close to a lot of people. I was prom chair, I was all school president, and those things were really, really, really fun for me.
Yeah.
Because there was not pressure in the sense of pressure that I knew I couldn't rise to. Academically, I suffered. I did not understand what learning was. I was a big memorizer. If I were to go back, I would really try to absorb more, but there was just so much to learn that I didn't have the capacity to learn that fast. I think, gosh, so long ago.
Yeah. Prom, pretty fun.
Yeah, prom was fun. I was so weird. I was so weird in high school, but
that's probably good. That's probably a good thing. All the weird kids are the ones who, I was just talking about this with my roommates today. Like, all the weird kids in high school are the ones who are, like, killing it now.
Really?
I think so. I have, like, a theory about this. Like, the ones that were, like, I mean, you I'm sure you had an amazing social life back in high school, but I think the ones that were, like, either, like, quirky or, like, sort of, like, nerdy or obsessed with, like, one thing, or, like, really talented at one thing that wasn't maybe, like, the mainstream thing. I mean, I went to Berkeley High, so it was a different vibe than Head Rice. But I feel like those kind of, like, random people, like, wild card people who you didn't really pay that much attention to back in high school, now are just, like, the most amazing, accomplished, incredible people. I'm not saying that that's you, but I feel like there's Yeah.
No, that actually makes me really happy to hear. Like, I do think socially, Hood Royce, I was lucky enough to have a good amount of friends, but I am aware of how difficult it is to fit in if you don't.
Yeah.
Because it's so small,
Right.
and because it celebrates only really like one type of academic person.
Yes.
And I can't imagine. I mean, in seventh grade, I had no friends. I had friends, but like I felt very isolated. So I understand the feeling, that isolation feeling. And this might have been the beginning of Krista going crazy because, like, remember I promised myself that no one would ever feel that hurt that I felt. And so every day I would like say hi to everyone. If someone was sitting by themselves in the hallway, I'd like sit with them. Like, I thought it was like my mission that like no one would ever feel like as isolated and hurt as I did in seventh grade. The horror. But it is painful. It is painful. And seventh grade, you got hormones and all these things. But I'm happy to hear that if someone did feel that way and was isolated and did not fit in as much, are thriving now. Because I wouldn't want Head Royce to dictate how anybody feels about themselves in terms of like worth.
I'm having a lot of these sort of conversations with my Head Royce friends here in New York, and a lot of people are sort of like resonating with that sentiment. And me being, I didn't go there for high school. Me being sort of a loner and sort of an outcast in middle school, and then like a loner and outcast in Berkeley High. Those are definitely like conversations that I've also enjoyed to have. But yeah, shouts out to the weird art kids and the theater kids out there who are listening to this. Like, this is why I have this podcast. Like, gas y'all up so we can do this thing together.
Being yourself is the only awesome thing to be.
Yes.
And like the right people will love you for that, and the wrong people do not need to be in your life. Like, I've like needing to be everyone's friend was a problem for me. And it did not serve me to try to be friends with people who did not necessarily want to be my friend or would take advantage of that fact.
Yeah. At Carnegie Mellon, you sort of blossomed, would you say?
Yeah, I was going through, again, like what I was saying earlier, like these health things, and Alexander technique. Randomly, I remember lying on the floor, and I felt like I learned how to breathe. So, and I also learned how to drop in. In high school, my voice was always up here because like everything was okay, everything was great, everything is fine, everything's wonderful. We're always like so happy, and because there were pressures to always like be great, and especially my family dynamic. And so going to school, like there was a lot I was holding out, like keeping away, and for some reason this breath thing, because the concept around it, Janet Feindel is my teacher, Janet Mandel Feindel, who teaches workshops now in Alexander. She has this book too called The Thought Propels the Sound, and it's so true. Cool. And then there's also the Edith Skinner book called, I think it's Edith Skinner. Oh no, it's Kristen Linklater,
cool.
Freeing the Natural Voice.
Yes.
And it's true. We hold so many different emotions in our body, in different places in our body. That's when we stretch and like certain things come out. And I was lying on the ground, and how lucky I am. I had a class where I could lie on the ground and breathe. And because my ribs were like feeling the ground, it forced me to take a full breath, and I just couldn't stop sobbing. I spent the whole 40 minutes just sobbing. And I had really supportive classmates. It's the first time I ever told anyone about like my health issues when I was a junior. They all sent me an email back. I had so much shame around it. I thought I was like ruining everyone's lives, ruining class, ruining this, ruining that. And I learned so much from school as a person, which therefore I learned to be like a great actor. So yeah, like the blossoming didn't happen until junior, senior year. Like, I was the only one who didn't get a lead. They did not believe in me.
Right.
I mean, I didn't get cut, but I was close to getting cut. But I thought that's what I deserved. I was like, okay, like I'll play the old babushka. Like I did not have parts.
Wow.
And so going out here was ridiculous to like, I think just didn't expect anything and just went and did it. And I didn't have an ego. I mean, we all have ego in some kind of way, but I did not come out and like expect to be the star.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I am, but I just didn't expect to work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm lucky. I'm really, really lucky and grateful. And also, like, the lesson around that for anyone who's listening is, like, don't underestimate yourself. Don't let anybody else, like, tell you who you can or can't be.
Yeah. What, as we start to I guess, wrap things up, what advice would you give, specifically an AAPI actor who is in your position, who's coming out of school or whatever with a lot of, perhaps, imposter syndrome, maybe disbelief in their own experience or potential? What advice would you give to that person? That person is kind of me, honestly, so go ahead.
Like, first of all, like, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
On allowing yourself to be an actor. Like, that's really awesome and really exciting that you know your passion is, you know you love something so much that you want to do it. And then to, like, piggyback off of that, I would say, like, don't ever let that fire die. And, like, always, like, remind yourself, like, why you're here. You're here because you love it. It's so easy to get down, to let, like, certain aspects of the industry make you even question, like, whether this is for you. And even if it's not, that's okay. Like, life, like, twists and turns. You don't have to, like, prove anything to anybody.
Yeah.
I would say, like, again, what I just said, like, don't let anybody tell you you are or aren't something. Like, the person who knows yourself the most is you. And I've gone, like, out and come back. It's very easy to, like, be swayed in many different ways. And, like, whether it's the media swaying you one way, whether it's your friends swaying you one way, whether it's your agents swaying you one way or the other, like, it's all, my friend always told me, Andrew Chang, who also went to Headrise, he's like, it's all data. It's all data, Krista. You just listen, and you get to choose what you resonate with and what you don't. And what makes you happy. And what makes you feel, like, fulfilled. Like, that's what you deserve.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see everybody happy. Really. Like, we're here to live. And I know it's complicated because it's like, oh, what makes me happy is working. And working is what makes me happy, kind of thing. And so, like, it's complicated if you don't necessarily have work. But they're always and that's where the balance comes from. Like, what else makes you happy outside of work too?
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know if this is going to be too broad of a question, but obviously you went to Carnegie Mellon, you learned a shit ton, I'm assuming.
Sorry, there's like someone in my
do you want to? I was going to say, do you want to go? Go ahead. No, go for it. We can take a break.
Hi, did you need something? I've been looking for them. Awesome. Okay, so I can go ahead and mark for you that you received it. Yeah, thank you so much. I already said goodbye. I assumed they'd never see me. Oh, man, yeah, some lady ran me down. She was like, here, these are for the other house in the middle. Was it 8511 Walnut? Yeah. I had hers, and I was like, give these to her. Okay, yay. Oh, no way, I think we got mixed up there. I see that. Okay, well, I appreciate you. You got it. Have a good one. You too. Sorry, Chase. I've been looking for these packages, and it's actually for my cousin who, like, is doing something huge for me. And I emailed, like, the companies, and they were like, sorry, not my problem. And so I just ordered another one and just, like, took the hit, but it just came because I thought it would never come.
Awesome.
But her stuff got delivered to me the other day, and so I, like, gave it to that person, and I was like, maybe they haven't, but
So now
I'm
you
so
have it.
glad it all worked out.
Yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt the
No,
podcast.
absolutely not.
I was just like, why is the delivery man
No, I
still
heard it.
outside?
I heard it, and I saw your I saw your eyes go,
I know,
and
I'm like in the middle of like giving advice. I'm like,
I was like, hey, sometimes the unpredictable happens, and you gotta roll with it.
that is like what I wish like someone told my younger self though, like just believe, like believe in your path. Everything will happen when you love something. I think Tisha Campbell Martin said this to me once. She was like, if the money will always come. But if you do it for the money, it's not going to come.
Right.
Like if you do it for the love will always get you there.
Right.
And like you said, like things like that do sound cheesy, but it's so true because but then also like how can you give yourself love so you can give the love out? And that is self-care. That is finding like more of like a balance. So when you are loved, which I'm learning right now, I'm on a journey to figuring that out. Like the big one for me with that is spending money. Like I will not spend any money ever. I'm gonna sit on it and save it for my retirement. But I'm like, wait a second. I think my makeup artist told me this. She's like, Krista, like when I was your age, I spent all my money. You will make the money. It's the abundance thing. Like you have to treat yourself, pay for things for yourself to like fuel it back out. And again, it's also like if it's somebody else too, like if you buy something for them or if you like tip somebody, like, or if you hire somebody for a service, like it is circulating all that energy and it creates, I know I sound so trendy, but it does create like abundance in a beautiful, beautiful way. I've watched it happen and I've witnessed it happen and I believe in it.
Yeah. And that's something that you have experienced, I imagine, a lot in your career, on set, in the rehearsal room, on stage, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and I also witness it when it's not that way, when people only see like the negative or like see what's wrong with the world, and very easy to see what's wrong with the world.
Yeah.
Especially these last 3 years. God, like I am angry. I'm very angry. I'm very upset. I'm also just watched the world tearing itself apart in terms of division.
Yeah.
It's very easy, but it's not helping anything. It's not productive either to just like think about like why we all hate each other. And we are all people at the end of the day. We are all hurting in some kind of way. I think we need to listen to each other a little more. And yeah, where am I going with that? I just got sad.
No, it's been a rough 2 weeks. Let's be perfectly honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in
and
SoCal.
years too. Yeah. So like, what do we do to like support each other through that? I think that's all we can do, versus like point fingers or find like problems with each other. Yeah. So to me that's like the opposite of circulating the love.
Yeah. You mentioned a minute.
Or like withholding, not like sharing.
Okay. Yeah. Abundant energy, outward abundant energy.
Outward. Oh, also manifesting.
Woo!
I'm actually like a really, really big fan of it. Like,
yeah.
I'm not a vision board girl, but I believe in them. I read this book called The Secret.
Of course.
And my God, that was my Dr. Ken. That got me. I mean, I like got me Dr. Ken, but I really believed in it, and I believed in myself being a serious regular. And it's interesting. Like, I didn't even cry when I got Dr. Ken. I was just like, oh, like it's interesting how things like that happen. And I don't know if it's because like I don't take the time to celebrate myself because I'm so worried about being fired, but I do think it's more the fact of like, no, this is right. And when things feel right, it's because you believe in yourself. Like you believe in this supposed to be. And so, yeah, I know it's like, yes, manifest, but it really is, yes, manifest.
It's about time that somebody on the show mentioned, or that we mentioned, The Secret on this show, because I feel like I talk about this stuff quite a bit on my program. So I'm all for that conversation, definitely. Yeah, it is kind of true. Just like what you put out into the world, like comes back in certain unexpected, crazy ways. Yeah. But I'm interested that when you got Dr. Ken, it wasn't like this big, like amazing magical moment for you, because usually when I get something or I accomplish something, I immediately have like a panic attack. I'm like, I have this,
Because
like, I'm like, I can't, this might be a little bit of a trauma dump, but it's my show. Yeah, just like the expectations that all of a sudden I'll have to live up to this. I'll have to do this. What if I fuck it up? What if I fail? I've also had a problem with just when I do accomplish something, really just sitting in that and just being like, okay, good job. Let me pat myself on the back for 5 minutes before I start to freak out. I don't know if that resonates at all with you, but yeah.
I think the latter, yes. The first part, less so, because I love to work. So I'm like, what is this challenge?
Right.
How can I not? But I do, like, I do well under pressure because I grew up an ice skater. But it does make me a bad procrastinator. I think celebrating ourselves is a very hard thing to do, especially as an Asian American.
Yeah.
Not feeling like enough.
Yeah.
So I hope you do it more. Like, you have a podcast. How amazing is that?
It's not that amazing. Come on.
It is. The amount of like energy it takes to reach out to people, to create it, to like understand it, to upload it, all of those things.
Yeah.
To be motivated enough to even name it, like that's a lot. Like, that is worth celebrating.
Well, thank you.
I celebrate you.
Thank you.
Heavily.
Thank you.
I mean, that's motivation. Like, I don't know if I would have that. I think self-motivation to do self-projects is one of the hardest things to do.
Got you. I'm very much like a self-project person.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm all about that. That's like kind of the theme of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. I think, yeah, and my podcast, I appreciate you for saying that. That's very nice of you. Yeah, I mean, my motivation is like all of these like douchebag alpha male guys are going to have their podcast. Like, I'm going to have my podcast, and we're going to talk about something. We're going to talk about other shit. And like, there really is not a podcast that I have come across that is like this. It's just like Asian actors and dramatists talking about themselves and like being celebrated. There's obviously podcasts with like Asian hosts or East Asian hosts, but nothing exactly like this. And I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, it's 2023. Like, we got to have something. And, and me being like a Asian biracial person, why not me at this point? Like, why the fuck not? So that's why we're doing it.
Oh, definitely. It's like, it's right. Doesn't it feel right?
Yeah. And we're getting,
that's great.
Yeah. And it is a good vibe. And it's something that I feel passionate about putting out into the world. So thank you so much for being a part of it. And thank you for the work that you are doing and have done and continue to do. Yeah, I'm so excited for what you have coming next. And I'm going to finish watching Reboot, on Hulu. We're going to do you want to plug the show, or should I plug the show formally?
Either way.
You go ahead. You'll probably do a better job.
We could go back and forth
Okay.
like with words. Okay.
There you go.
Please, okay. Please.
No, go for it.
Okay. I thought we were gonna go back and forth with the words.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Okay,
I'm ready.
ready. Okay.
Go.
Please
Watch
Reboot
on
Hulu.
Yay!
Yay!